I will now give the floor to His Excellency Munir Akram, President of the Economic and Social Council, for his reflections on the strategy. Your Excellency, you have the floor. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Your Excellency, Deputy Secretary General Amina Mohammed, Ms. Sandra Ojambo, CEO and Executive Director of the UN Global Compact, Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen. We are meeting today at an inflection point of a pandemic which has devastated global economies, societies, health systems. The work of organizations such as the Global Compact is all the more essential and important at this stage when the world must work together, both governments and private sector, civil society, and other organizations, in order to emerge from this crisis, which threatens to overwhelm large parts of the world. The concept and the contributions of the Global Compact are extremely valuable, based as they are on its 10 high principles. We have noted the shift in the strategy, which has just been indicated by Madam Ojambo, and we believe that these are important directions in which the Global Compact can work in the future. We support the objective of scaling up its impact through broadening participation of companies and governments, multinational corporations, SMEs, local networks, and also enhancing the impact of its collective actions guided by the 10 principles. At this point in history, our actions are vital to respond to the COVID-19 pandemic, and vital to build back better, as Secretary General of the United Nations has stated. To do so, we must focus on what are the essential and urgent actions required. The first among these that I would reiterate is the availability and accessibility of a COVID vaccine for all. Unless we can inoculate the world's population, especially in the developing countries which are lagging behind, unless we can universally vaccinate all people, we will not be able to defeat this pandemic anytime soon, and its impact on the global economy, on national economies, on societies, and on the achievement of the SDGs, as well as the climate goals. The recent discussions in ECOSOC have pointed to several actions that are required in respect to the vaccine and to building back better. I would express the hope that the Global Compact would look at how it can contribute to the objectives that have been identified. In the ECOSOC's financing for forum last month, we also were able to adopt consensus language on several focus areas. And these are certainly an indication of where action within the global community among all stakeholders is possible. The Global Compact has very succinctly in its report identified the areas where it can lead, other areas where it can cooperate, and other areas where it can amplify the messages of the international community. Thus, the contribution that it can make is very clear and very focused, and I would like to commend that. The contribution to sustainable solution to debt is one focus area. Advancing equity and inclusion in the relief is important at this stage. In the case of building on strong institutions, which is the area where proposals for cooperation could be made, are those for a new financial architecture, including a debt authority which has been proposed. I would also like to draw attention to the recent recommendations of the FACTI panel, which are also most relevant to the work of the Global Compact. A pact on transparency, integrity, and accountability in all financial transactions, and the creation of a UN body to monitor and coordinate the work that is done in the field of illicit financial flows are also important areas where the Global Compact could cooperate to great advantage. I would, for my parts, recall that in ECOSOC, we have had discussions on ways to secure investment in sustainable infrastructure. Unless we can transform global infrastructure from the current fossil fuel model to a green economy, we will not be able to achieve either the SDGs or the goal of net zero emissions by 2050. $1 trillion is required to be invested in developing countries in sustainable infrastructure each year. I have convened 2 rounds of consultations on the issue of investment in sustainable infrastructure. On the 19th of May, we will hold another interaction with the private sector, pension funds, private equity funds, in order to understand what it would take to enable the private sector to invest in sustainable infrastructure investment in developing countries. And I would invite members of the Global Compact to participate in this discussion, which would be followed by another intergovernmental and multi-stakeholder discussion on this issue, which is, I think, critical to the transformation which we are looking for. Finally, we also believe that the Global Compact work in the area of amplification is important. Amplification of the call for no poverty, for zero hunger, for universal health. These are important objectives. And these can obviously be achieved if we can involve the corporations, the small and medium-sized enterprises, the local networks, in as many developing and developed countries as is possible. And this is a commendable objective which Ms. Ojambo has identified. I would only suggest that perhaps the utilization of the United Nations Resident Coordinator System, which is monitored and developed by the Deputy Secretary General, that the use of the RC system in order to enlarge the participation of companies as well as networks in the developing countries would be a very useful methodology in order to enlarge the compass of the Global Compact. I look forward to participating in forthcoming meetings in the Leaders Summit and in the Group of Friends meetings, and we wish all success and express full support to the work of the Global Compact. I thank you very much.
I would like to thank His Excellency for his reflections.